Thanks for staying with us. Before we move on to our next topic, we have quite a number of tweets and comments. Go ahead, Mariam.
Vincent Stevens says, but it's the truth. She's absolutely right. After he's done talking, she can also talk. If both of them are talking, they will not hear each other. And Longevity Daniel says, but she's right to a certain point. We don't know her reason or what warranted the said teaching. Then Aram Tokwe says, every good advice to sustain marriages is always criticized by overexposed ladies. Can they repair broken homes? But they can break homes saying things they can't try with their partners.
Sorry, Bashari Olayinka says, unfortunately, this woman liberation is getting out of hand. Women are beginning to see women liberation as a sort of competition between the husband and his wife. And then that pastor, Adisa the Enigma, says that pastor who called is a joker. Oh, did you read that one already?
I read that one.
And then he also says, God bless the honorable minister for the wisdom she had learned. The honest truth is that even as highly educated as she is, she shocks me as a traditional woman.
Okay, so that's a good one for you. Anyway, so I think in a nutshell, really, the truth is that everything is contextual. And I think from the woman's perspective, she expects that women are supposed to be submissive. And in part of showing submission is to be quiet when your husband is talking. On the other side, we're saying that today's woman is confident, she has an opinion, she wants to be heard, and she expects to be supported to be heard. However, the middle ground in that is that, yes, you can be heard, but because you're a union with somebody, maybe you should also compromise. Do we use the word compromise?
Yeah.
Or see how you can, both of you respect each other. It's a two-way street where your wife is speaking, sometimes you respect her, she also respects you when you're speaking. So we have to find a middle ground in this whole thing. I think that's how we can end with that. Moving on to our next topic. The Australian government proposed a bill on a minimum age limit for children to use social media, citing mental and physical health concerns. According to the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, the government would run an age verification trial before introducing the legislation. Now, the question is, should the government of Nigeria also toe the same path and place an age restriction on social media? What are your thoughts? That's a conversation we're having. You can call us on 081 0764 1679, 090 3440. You can also send your messages to X and at TVC Connect and also on our YouTube page. So that's a conversation on social media. Yeah. I know that during the holidays, it was, oh my goodness, I tried all the rules in this world. I put rules here, restrictions. The kids were just so glued to their screens. So I banned screens till 4 p.m. Initially, it was till noon. When I realized that noon till midnight, they were on it, I said, okay, no TV, no phone, no tabs till 4 p.m. And then they'll be waiting. So they'll be playing with board games and stuff like that. They'll be waiting. Once it's 4 p.m.,
they are waiting.
They are waiting. I mean, is it 4 o'clock yet? All the way. And I was like, even that for me was still too much.
No, it's too much.
So it's like, do you think this makes sense? Or do you think it can happen in Nigeria? Or what do you think there's a need to consider this in Nigeria? You want to start?
I think, honestly, it should be a veritable consideration. I mean, social media is a fantastic tool for social engagement, but it also causes a lot of social harm. And really, the concern for me as a parent and just as a member of the society is you see a lot of young people really becoming social media addicts, and they have access to information that really they have no business having. I really do think there has to be, or there should be, a consideration of having some sort of regulation, especially for young kids. You have young kids that don't go out, as I think the Prime Minister pointed out. They don't do natural, every child that you see, as young as 3, 4, they have a tablet in their hand. And I honestly think it is even eroding their mental capacity. It really, it should be a great consideration. I don't like the access of social media that young children have.
As adults, most of us are addicted to our devices, our iPads, we're always, you see people go out, they're in a restaurant, everybody's on their phone. Sometimes I go somewhere, or you are at a concert, everyone is on their phone.
Yeah.
In the train.
And you're looking, so nobody's having conversations
You're not
anymore.
present.
Husband and wife will text each other. They're in the same house, but they will text each other. So we, as adults, we are addicted to our devices. And we have the mechanism to be able to fight it. Kids don't even have that mechanism. So you are putting them, you are giving them these devices early on. You know, because my daughter doesn't allow her kids. They can watch maybe one cartoon a day. One.
Wow.
And she's the one that will download it for them, put it on her computer, they will watch it out. That's...
How does she occupy them?
They have to occupy themselves. They will get games, they play games. And actually, when you see them playing
together.
they're playing together.
Yeah.
They're getting to know each other.
Yeah.
They're reading, you know. The boy reads better than the girl, so he reads to her.
Yeah.
Or she will just sit down while he's reading, you know. So they find things to do. But because we have that mentality of, the phone, I can't see it. You are suffering this children. These children are deprived. It's how I'm thinking.
Grandma thinks so.
You know? But she's like, Mommy, when you come, don't let them near your iPad.
Okay.
Rollery now, please now. Let them even play 1 or 2 games. No. And she's really adamant about it. I feel she's a bit strict.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to come to you, Mariam.
Okay, so for me, I think it's important to place an age restriction on the use of social media, especially. Sometimes I feel bad that our children are not exposed to some of the things I felt helped to build our character. Yeah. We had time to read. Like, there was time to do something, finish it, and then do the next thing. But you find children nowadays, they're on their tabs doing one thing or other. So they're never fully present to do anything, you know? And it's taking, and I think that what we'll see in a few years when they become adults, we will not be able to take it. It just also reminds me, maybe I'm being too extreme here, but it reminds me of the time where they said that drugs came into like communities, and there were communities that from the top to the bottom, the whole street, everybody was on. Yeah, you just had drug addicts everywhere, and it affected the communities. The communities were like ghost towns. I feel like social media use has gotten to that stage. There's like
zombies.
Yeah, it's like a drug. And my fear is we have children who have so much information, but they don't understand the character that they need to say yes and no. You know, they haven't developed mentally enough to be able to make some choices. There's some children that are already under pressure to be a certain way because they've seen it over and over and over again, how this person in America is like this, and every day it shows the parents going shopping, you know? So you're thinking, I am not happy. At 6, you already think that. At 8, at 10, you already think that your life is not perfect because you've watched Kaylee in America, who is, by the way, just shooting content, showing her fabulous life. So I really would, advise that. No, I'm just giving an example, you know. But it's important. It's important that we have age restriction placed. But then, the age, what is the right age?
But the problem now is that even schools are lazy. I'll come to Yamaka. Schools are getting lazy because all their assignments on social media. So I'm trying to say no more iPads. In fact, I was so happy when they were going to school on Monday. I packed all the laptops, everything away. Just for them to come tomorrow, yesterday, Mommy, the assignments down. We have tablet, we have to check. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not giving you that tablet again. Say, no, our assignments are there. So the schools are also trying to use social media. I'm trying to get them away from the screens, and the schools are bringing them back. So I get confused. Amaka, your thoughts on this?
Okay, so, when we're all growing up, there are certain things that we weren't exposed to, all right? And that's a good thing because I believe it's your duty as a parent to protect your child from certain things until the time they are able to assimilate those informations. They can know what to do with them. They can build character. And also, we also underestimate the power of social interaction, interacting with people, playing, that innocence that comes with that playing, being yourself, being free, finding yourself. I believe that with this age of social media, it's also taken away from children, right? To do that. And rightly, like what Miriam said, like children are no longer concentrating on one thing. They're on tabs, like flipping through. And life is not like that. You need to be able to focus on one thing, finish that thing, go to the next. Yeah. And you find out that even at home, so when you send a child to do an errand, the child is not taking their time to complete that errand properly because they want to run back to their tabs to do something. So yes, I support the fact if Nigeria can also put an age restriction to the use of social media, because too much information, kids are losing their self-confidence. They're not taking their time to understand themselves. They don't understand that they're unconsciously that they're competing. So that jealousy, that competition, that envy now begins at an earlier age than it should.
Can I also say I agree with Sister Amaka, because children now don't have the ability to develop those social skills. And, social media can be very toxic. You have heard stories. It puts unnecessary pressure on young children. And for me, with the ministry of my ministry, that component of culture, what you find is with social media, our children have lost these values, our ideals, our traditions. They learn it from social media. So I think it's very important, honestly, to consider putting that age restriction so that we build, as you said, character. And they understand who they are as Nigerians. And then, they can have access to it by the time they have that character.
But where I get confused is that the world... But see, where I get confused is that the world has passed Ludo. The world has passed all these things that we've done. I mean, I tried to buy those board games, and they played it for like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and after that, they were done. There was the other one, Scrabble. I mean, I bought lots of games for them. Scrabble. About 2 weeks after, they were done. They played it back to back, like, and they felt they were okay. So the point is that we are saying the world has evolved. Everything is on social media. Even we are on social. My kids come to the room, I'm hearing the staircase, walking up the staircase, and I'm also on my phone. I quickly hide it because I don't want them to see me on the phone. Because the more they see me on the phone, they also want their own screen too. So we are also not laying good examples for them either.
No. Okay, so this is where I would say where our fault is. So you bought all these board games. How many times did you play with them? Because I remember growing up, we played the board games with our parents. They made the time. But now what we do, we hand them over these things. We don't engage them. Then we go over to our phones. And that is what, and with children, it's what you do that they want. It's not what you tell them to do. So
that's true.
My children, I remember there was a time they were like, Mommy, don't play with us. We wish you were the way you used to be, more engaging. So for us, and a lot of people explain this, they say for us, for our generation, we're so afraid of our children being bored. From before they could say anything, you just hand them a tablet so that they are not bored. But boredom is important because it allows for creativity.
Don't cry. Just take
exactly. So if you allow a child to be bored, he will come up with creative ways to not be bored and build character and build all sorts of things. So we also need to tell ourselves, this parenting we're doing, are we as involved as we should be, or we're also distracting ourselves from parenting with our own devices?
Bless you. This is Elizabeth. Thanks for calling. You're live. Joss.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to say, first of all, some parents have laid out how they would want to parent their children. Now, some have made the decision, okay, we're not going to expose our children to certain devices until they've come of certain age. But then they now find themselves exposing these children to such devices at an early age. And I'll tell you why. It's because the same parents A, parents B, and they see their children having these things, being exposed to these things, and they feel, why shouldn't my child have access to this? That's one of the issues that we're having. Another thing is, I actually believe that, or actually support.
Well, Elizabeth, we're having trouble hearing you. I hope our viewers could hear you at home. Let's take a few comments on social media. I'll be wrapping up on this very soon. But my worry, as I said, is that, okay, if we check ourselves, schools are not checking themselves. They don't give them assignment. Everything now is on the apps. And when the kids are drawn to the apps, the other day, yesterday was my first outing after my kids' school. And I took my iPad back. And that's what I used at the event yesterday. I didn't recognize the iPad again. They had changed everything, the screensavers, they put in like 1,000,001 different apps. And I'm thinking, what is this? I couldn't even find my own app to do the work I wanted to do. So even the school, everything has been accustomed to using the app. So how do I, as a parent, disengage a child that the school day expects them to be online?
You know, for example, okay, so now you're saying something different in the sense that it's okay for kids to have the app, to have the tab, but you now need to monitor what's there, like as in their creative games, their educational stuff that you put on those tabs to monitor that they're using it, tech things, coding, that they use it for what is meant to be used. But is restriction from social media, TikToking, dancing, Instagram, having access to all those things. Social media should be a no-no till a certain age. But the kids should be allowed to have tabs. For school, because it helps them to be able to compete globally. You know, like to do the coding and stuff, they need to use a tab, right, to do all those things. And especially, for example...
Then the open pages, was it not Bimbo, the actress, that was saying that the Big Brother... What's her name?
Yes.
She said that her daughter went to go and open a TikTok account because these kids will find a way around it. They will hide it somewhere. You won't even know where it is.
And I've noticed about one of these social media, on the children's channel, they have all this adult content.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they're
You know, and because the
things.
children are their targets, and they know you are, I want to be in the kitchen doing some work.
Yes.
Yeah, take this
Tab.
and watch it. They are exposed to things that we don't.
Because curiosity will make them keep clicking those things.
But even that adult content, for me, there should be some restriction. You go to a country like Turkey, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, China, you don't have access to it. It is so annoying when you, as a person, is even just trying to navigate the social media and something comes up. It is so, I mean it is such a rude awakening, and to think that your young children also have access to this, I think honestly it should be a consideration that
they tried it sometime in this country, and Nigerians when we wanted to regulate social media, and I'm not talking about restrictions now, general regulation, the conversation was started. I think it was the former minister, Lai Mohammed, was trying to push for that. Everybody went, they want to gag us, But part of the conversation in regulating is putting restrictions on this accessibility for certain sites. But Nigerians refused.
Yeah.
Same way governors refuse to share to lay the access.
But I think most people are going to agree.
Going back to that?
Yeah, I think most people will agree. Honestly, most adults are going to agree to a restriction for children because all of us as parents are struggling with the same thing. Our children are just exposed to a very toxic and unhealthy
because we're not saying regulate it for adults. We're saying regulate it for children.
So that they can build their character.
Yes, because...
it's the adult that give the children now. Take my tablet, take my phone.
Yeah, but if they know that...
No, it's not on you as a parent. It's not parenting that, as in I can't come to your home to tell you how to raise your child. At least you know that. At least I know that. that there's something that protects.
I can tell you, if I was the minister in charge of that portfolio, that ban would certainly be a huge consideration. I hope the minister, my colleague, is listening to us.
Let me just read some comments. Sorry.
Can I just?
Yeah.
Okay. So recently, I'd seen on social media, a school that uses apps, to teach children. So they go to school for many hours. Maybe 6 hours a day, but the first 2 hours they have coaches and then they use AI tools to teach them. Then for the rest of the hours, they engage them in physical stuff. So they are building things, they're creating things. But what I find with us here is we go to school, we do schoolwork for a few hours, and then we now use our AI tools for fun, right? So for me, the mindset to change it, so we're using AI tools and apps a bit more intelligently, is to allow children be exposed to AI tools that can help build them, educate them. So, when they spend their time there, they look for more content like that. The content that comes to them is content that educates them and builds them. And then they spend the rest of their time, doing handwork and playing with each other, playing in the streets and doing all sorts of, and doing sports. So that need to watch other people's lives and follow the trends and follow, all that would be limited.
Someone here is saying boredom is a way of making you creative.
Yeah,
yes.
Mariam said that.
Mariam said that.
We have to wrap up on this, but I think
absolutely.
I think in a nutshell, really, to wrap this up, in a nutshell is that it's something worth considering because kids today are addicted, and we say that the world does need them to be online, but they must be educative. It must be such that it's actually stuff they're doing that can help them build their creativity and become better citizens, not stuff that will harm them or affect their mental health. That I think is something we should consider. Let's go on a very short break now. We'll come back. We'll now focus on the Ministry of Art, Culture, and Creative Economy. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.